Modern Zoroastrianism by James Hope Moulton. Chapter 4 is Ceremonial Life Outside the Fire Temple. Whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. You think he would have given a specific Bible reference if this was from Paul? But it just says Paul, so I presume that's what you mean. What it means. It will be convenient to detach for separate treatment religious observances which are independent of the holy places that are the scene of the rituals described in chapter 3 and capable of performance either without a priest or with the priest not observing the Brashnum. Now, remember, Zarathustra created, brought forward, encouraged community of priests and priestesses, so we're probably looking at the more authentic ceremonies, aren't we? We will follow the Parsi's ceremonial life from the beginning at initiation through the ordinary observances and special religious events by way of preparing for an account of the divisions in the community and a general estimate of the religion as a whole. The religious life of the Parsi begins with the Na-Ojoti, or initiation ceremony. The name Avestan, Nava, new, and Za'otar, priest, invoker, describes an induction of a novice. The ceremony takes place after a boy or girl is 7, with 15 as an extreme limit. It is the ceremony of putting on the sacred cord, kushti, and shirt, sudra, with the wearing of which a Parsi begins to follow the religion. The prayers involved are fundamental from the great frequency with which they are repeated by every Parsi throughout life. A full description will therefore be desirable. A Na-Ojoti is often performed, as in the case of one seen by the writer, in an assembly room adjoining a fire temple, so that the family priest may take the child when initiated to do reverence before the fire. The fire is not the god, it's just treated reverently like any clean thing that can be present or a part of ritual. But it is only a convenience, and the child's home is more often the scene. A bath, is a natural preliminary from which the parents and friends repair with the priest or priests and the child to the place of the ceremony. A new set of clothes, as well as a new sudra and kusti, are set before the priest. Remember, in the Islamic tradition, that for the 2 holidays, it's a custom that if you're going to do this, only 2 sets of new clothes a year, showing up on the 1st of the 10th month and the 10th of the 12th month in new clothes after taking a bath. But this is something you do to yourself. It's not an audience thing. There is at least 1 lamp, burning ghee and fire on a censer, with sandalwood and frankincense. The former, like the trayful of symbolic gifts of good luck given to the child afterwards, is an accessory due to the Indian environment. The fact that the sacred girdle is as conspicuous in what we call Hinduism and Buddhism as in the Parsi religion suggests that it's an institution of Indo-Iranian antiquity. Its Avestan name is Iwi Ongana, from Yah, to gird. The regulations for its manufacture, which is a prerogative of women of priestly family, are very minute, and every detail is a most excellent mystery into which we will not attempt to enter. Thus, its 72 threads of lamb's wool represent the 72 has of the yasna. The hollow of the thread symbolizes the space between the earth and the heaven, between this world and the next. The doubling or twisting of the thread in the beginning symbolizes the connection between the present corporeal world and the future spiritual world. The 2 worlds are so connected that what you do will sow in this world, you will reap in the other. The turning of the kusti inside out has a somewhat similar significance. It symbolizes the passage of the soul from this corporeal world, from this corporeal to the spiritual world. This will serve as a fair example of the ingenuities with which the medieval Parsi fathers busied their brains. Technically, they didn't exist historically during that time as the Renaissance, right? Or the Enlightenment. When did they appear historically? There was a huge gap between when they said they moved and when they moved. How far are the present to the modern Parsi, as he winds and unwinds his kusti several times a day, is beyond our power to say. Before investiture, the priest recites the patet, and the child says it also, if he knows it. If not, he repeats the honaver several times. Then both of them stand up, and the priest bids the child repeat a creed as follows. It must be observed that it is in an unknown tongue, and there is no guarantee that the child will know in the least what it means. It is given thus by Dr. Modi. Praised be the most righteous, the wisest, the most holy, and the best Mazdayastian law, which is the gift of Mazda, the good, true, and perfect religion, which God has sent to this world, is that which Prophet Zoroaster has brought in here. That religion is the religion of Zoroaster, the religion of Ahura Mazda, communicated to holy Zoroaster. Righteousness is the best gift, and happiness. Happiness to him who is righteous for the sake of the best righteousness. The comparison of the Ashambhohu is given above here with the far more exact rendering on page 90 of this book, will illustrate the fact that the archaic formulae are not infallibly interpreted, but our purpose now is only to ask what the modern Parsi thinks the old words mean when he knows any more than the bare syllables learned by rote. With this creed repeated, the priest recites the honaver and invests the child with the sudra. This is of the white cambric, made in two pieces, the seams being under the arms. The front half, we are told, symbolizes the past, and the back the future, which are related to each other through the present, presumably represented by the seams. Parsis are accordingly taught to turn their back on the future. Possibly, however, the queer symbolism of these Pahlavi doctors does not loom very large in the minds of the Parsis, as he puts on his sudra again after a bath, the only occasion on which he may discard it. The most important part of the sudra is said to be a bag or purse placed in the middle just below the throat. It has two names, one of which is accounted to signify faith in the religion, the other, purse of righteousness, that a man has to be industrious, and has not only to fill his bag or purse with money, but has to fill it up with righteousness. During the investiture, the priest stands behind the child, both facing east in the forenoon, west in the afternoon. He recites a prayer, and the child joins him for the following part. Now, remember, they're not worshiping the sun. The sun is giving them a prayer direction, and then the moon is giving a prayer direction, and the fire is giving a prayer direction. The omniscient God is the greatest Lord. Ahriman is the evil spirit that keeps back the advancement of the world. May that evil spirit, with all his accomplices, remain fallen and dejected. O omniscient Lord, I repent of all my sins. I repent of all the evil thoughts that I may have entertained in my mind, or all the evil words that I have spoken, of all the evil actions that I may have performed. May Ahura Mazda be praised. May Ahriman, the evil spirit, be condemned. The will of the righteous is the most praiseworthy. And we see here that fallen perhaps in power, but if people have fallen spiritually by choices, wouldn't you want them to lift themselves up, whether it's a jinn or a human? Ahriman's a jinn, a dava. During this prayer, the priest put the kusti round the child's waist. Then they repeat together the following credo. O Almighty, come to my help. I am a worshipper of God. I am a Zoroastrian worshipper of God. I agree to praise the Zoroastrian religion and to believe in that religion. I praise good thoughts, good words, and good actions. I praise the good Mazdaestian religion, which curtails discussions and quarrels, which brings about kinship or brotherhood, which is holy, and which of all religions that have yet flourished are likely to flourish in the future, is the greatest and the best, the most excellent, and which is the religion given by God to Zoroaster. I believe that all good things proceed from God. May the Mazdaestian religion be thus praised. How little the daily repetition of this creed has destroyed odium theologicum, the most persistent weed to grow in the fertile soil of our poor humanity, will be shown in our next chapter. Islam would say that their religion is Mazdaestian Zoroastrian. True Mazdaestian implies that all the worship, all the songs, all the praise, all the celebrations are supposed to be for God. Throwing in other things to worship, then how is it distinctly Mazdaestian if it's like every other faith? And Islam believes in all the prophets, so again, Islam, for example, does not see any difference in here, but Christianity definitely sees some things like that, as is implied in that response that he said. The priest then pronounces a benediction invoking blessings on the ruler of the land, on the community, and on the novice. The priests are paid their fees, and guests are garlanded, and the proceedings terminate with light refreshments to follow in some cases, while the family priest takes the child for his first visit to the fire temple. The prayers have been quoted at this length because they are of special importance, being repeated at the ceremonial untying and retying of the kusti, which is supposed to be done on getting out of bed in the morning, before meals, before saying prayers, after a bath, and on other occasions. Allowing for 3 meals and 1 bath only, a Parsi would have to repeat them at least 7 or 8 times a day. It is not surprising that a modern Parsi sometimes neglects to do so on getting out of bed and before his meals.